everybody, welcome to BrickVault. We have in front of us today a Lego custom build that we've seen requests for maybe a year now, and it's finally here. This is the Colonial Viper Mark II from Battlestar Galactica. It's easily the most recognizable ship from the TV series, and it's a design that has stayed with fans for decades now, because the design really didn't change from 1978 when the show first aired to when the series was revived back in the early 2000s. This is a very fast, sleek little fighter used to fight mostly Cylon raiders, and from what I've heard, it originally got its Viper name because people were calling the popular F-16 Vipers back in the Air Force in the 70s, and I guess people saw enough similarities between this starfighter and the fighter jet that was currently serving in the military. Now, I do want to talk more about this build, but I do want to say, like always in the beginning of these episodes, this is a custom build that can be found at our web store, the instructions for them, that is. So you can check out www.brickvault.toys. Included with each purchase is a PDF step-by-step file for the instructions, as well as a digital parts list file that can be uploaded online for instantly ordering the parts that you're going to need to make the build. It's a quick and easy process, so if this looks like a Lego model that you might actually want to have, this is definitely something that you can actually put together. Now, the designer for this particular model was Bernard. He also has his creations up for the Bounty Hunter speeders as well as the Snow Speeder in the web store, and just like his other ships, he's managed to capture the wonderful sleek lines of this design, and he also has included two different forms of how you want to build the canopy. This is the original design, which is a brick-built canopy for the cockpit, or if you wanted to use one of the Lego windscreens, this is probably the closest you can get to the original shape. So I'm going to be kind of switching back between both of these canopy designs throughout the review, and both versions are available with the purchase of instructions. Okay, so let's jump into the model a bit. Let's check out its functions. Obviously, you can fit a pilot into the cockpit, and in the interior you can find a center stick right there for the minifigure, as well as a little printed piece that makes up some of the control console. Now, if you're used to these Friday videos where I show off a new custom build, you'll know that I talk about the handling, or I handle the model at the end of each episode. Let's change it up this time. So this is just to kind of give you guys an idea of what the profile or the top-down view looks like, and I also want you guys to have an idea of what this model is like if you were to pick it up and move it around. Now, is this set up like a Lego play model where any 6-year-old can pick it up and just start playing around with it really rough? No, but it's absolutely swooshable, and of course it looks a lot better than maybe a 6 and up playset, and that's sort of the idea. Now, I'm testing the model by putting all the weight onto one of the wings, and as you can see, you can pop the wing off, so don't hold the model by that particular point, but you can hold it by the back fin. The main body, of course, is pretty darn strong, and as we move forward towards the snout, most of that paneling there is very sturdy, and you can pretty much hold the model up by any particular point. There is a little tile detailing that likes to pop up just a bit if you hold it by the front, and actually in the beginning of the shot that piece was already popped up and I hadn't noticed, but there you go. The basic idea is that you can handle this model pretty easily, though like every custom build, there are some interesting little points for extra detail that of course make this thing not quite as strong as a little playset that you can kind of throw around. Now, I think the underside is really nice here. I wanted to show it off a little bit more. The fact that the forebody and afterbody, or the centerpiece, has been totally smoothed out really makes this thing feel that much more solid, and the Viper was shown from all angles at all times in the show, so I'm glad that Bernard took the time to really make this thing look good from the underside. The landing gear comes out in a very strong fashion, especially when it comes to custom builds. Landing gear is always a little bit flimsy just because it's, to be accurate, always kind of small compared to the rest of a ship. But in the case of the Colonial Viper here, the connection points just really work. They feel very solid, and the feet don't fall off, the legs don't break off at any point. In fact, I think it would be very hard to do that. So in terms of handling the model or being able to move it around on the ground, no problem. It lands just like how it would land within the universe of the show. But there's also a very nifty display stand also created just for this model. It has the ability to cant, and the width of the structure is more than enough to keep the weight very sturdy. So you can fold the feet back into the body nice and easy, and then the whole ship locks into place onto the stand. It won't slide forward or backward, and you can cant it to the side at a pretty harsh angle actually if you want. So in terms of handling and functions, that's the entire model, but there's a few details that I think are worth taking a closer look at now. Specifically, the 3 thrusters on the back have a wonderful shape. They meld into the body of the ship really seamlessly, and I love the inclusion of the tractor pieces, or those tread pieces that wrap around the very ends. It's a simple design, and the look works just right. I'm so glad that that actually fits perfectly with the right amount of pieces. As for the wings, you might have seen from one of the previous shots, but there is that nice little space between the main hull or body of the ship and the front cannon blaster by the wing. That was probably one of the more difficult shapes to achieve when really getting the proportions correct on this model. And then the 2 front intakes for the engines are attached with very few pieces, but stay on surprisingly well, and they do capture that wonderful angle with those sloped pieces that come down towards the front. Now, speaking of towards the front, the snout is built in a way where we've got some tiles that overlay the top, and then underneath we've got 2 walls of slopes, as well as some other detailing that are on some angled pieces that match up nicely towards the nose. This kind of detailing, or this building technique, is something that I don't think you're ever gonna find in a Lego set, at least not something that's supposed to be minifig scale. And for me, it really does make all the difference for when you look at the overall proportions of the ship and you just see how accurate this model really is. All right, I believe that's everything I want to say about this Colonial Viper Mark II. Remember, the instructions are available in the web store. If you're interested in picking them up, check it out at www.brickvault.toys. Remember to leave a comment in the comment section below about what types of builds you might want to see us do in the future. And thanks so much for watching and sticking around in the video this long. If you enjoy our content, you can always like or subscribe, and we will see you next time at BrickVault.